What if the real reason you feel overwhelmed isn't the events themselves, but the way your mind interprets them? Most people assume life overwhelms them because it's chaotic, unfair, or unpredictable. But the Stoics understood something decades before modern psychology could explain it. You aren't broken because of what happens to you. You're breaking because of the story you tell yourself about what happens. Stress, anxiety, and despair don't start in the world outside. They start in the tiny, silent space between the event and the meaning you assign to it. That gap creates a feedback loop. Something happens, your mind interprets it, that interpretation triggers an emotion, and that emotion drives a reaction. Then your reaction intensifies the situation, looping it back into your mind until you feel trapped in your own life. But here's the truth, you are not trapped. And today, we're going to break that loop. Not with wishful thinking, not with shallow motivation, but with timeless Stoic strategies that can reshape your mind into something calm, deliberate, and unshakable. The first principle is radical acceptance. Stop resisting what is. Real suffering doesn't come from what happens. It comes from deciding that it shouldn't happen. Think about the last time you were frustrated. Was it the event itself, or the way your mind refused to let it simply exist? A conversation didn't go as planned, someone disappointed you, or your day didn't unfold like you imagined. And instantly, the mind rebels. This isn't fair. This shouldn't happen. I can't accept this. That resistance is the real source of tension. Reality doesn't negotiate. It doesn't wait. It simply exists, indifferent to your preferences. Every moment you fight it, you bleed energy unnecessarily. Marcus Aurelius, amidst betrayal, war, and loss, wrote that we should accept everything as if we had chosen it ourselves. Not because every event is pleasant, but because acceptance returns power to you. When you stop fighting reality, your mind relaxes, solutions become visible, and a sense of peace emerges where previously there was only friction. Radical acceptance is not surrender. It is choosing to stop wasting strength on battles you cannot win, so you can focus on battles you actually can. Acceptance clears the path for action. The second principle is mastering the narratives in your mind. Life doesn't stress you out, your mind's interpretation does. Two people can live through the same event. One collapses, the other remains calm. The difference is the story they tell themselves. Your mind is a storyteller, filling gaps, projecting motives, exaggerating risks. Someone doesn't text back, and you assume they're ignoring you. A colleague walks past without smiling, and you assume displeasure. Plans go awry, and your mind declares catastrophe. These are not facts. They are interpretations, fear disguised as truth. Epictetus said, "People are disturbed not by events, but by their judgments about events." The solution is to catch the narrative before it overwhelms you. When stress arises, pause and ask, could there be another explanation? Perhaps the text delay isn't rejection, it's distraction. Perhaps the plan change isn't a disaster, it's redirection. A mistake isn't failure, it's experience. When you neutralize the story, stress melts away. Begin describing events in bare facts, stripping out meaning and emotion. Then ask, what is the calmest, clearest way to see this? Your brain will resist initially. It craves drama, but with repetition, neutrality becomes natural and clarity replaces chaos. The third principle is detaching from what you cannot control. A huge source of human anxiety is trying to steer the unsteerable. You cannot control other people's opinions, their actions, the timing of events, or life's outcomes. Yet most people exhaust themselves attempting to do exactly that. It's like trying to stop the ocean from moving. Freedom begins when you recognize what is yours and what is not. Your effort, choices, and attitude are yours. Everything else belongs to reality. The moment you focus on what truly belongs to you, energy once spent on useless control floods back into your life. You stop forcing outcomes, stop overthinking reactions, stop hoping for things to align perfectly. Your mind stabilizes. Your strength grows. The fourth principle is breaking emotional loops before they spiral. Most stress doesn't start as disaster. it starts as a flicker. A minor irritation triggers a thought. The thought triggers emotion. The emotion triggers reaction, and the reaction fuels more thought. Soon, a small spark becomes wildfire. The untrained mind merges with emotion, assuming it defines reality. The Stoics mastered the ability to step back from the first wave, to observe it, breathe, and interrupt the chain. An emotion is not a command. It is a signal. If you pause before adding judgment or resistance, the wave peaks and falls on its own. That space between feeling and reaction is where power lives. The fifth principle is building mental immunity through discomfort. Modern life shields us from challenge. We live in constant comfort, temperature-controlled rooms, endless convenience, entertainment on demand. It feels good, but it produces fragility. When a minor inconvenience arises, the mind panics because it never trained to endure difficulty. The Stoics deliberately exposed themselves to hardship, cold, hunger, silence, challenge, uncertainty, not to suffer, but to become unshakable. Every small voluntary challenge is like a mental vaccine. Cold showers, fasting, disciplined effort, uncomfortable conversations. These aren't about suffering. They're training your mind to remain calm under pressure, to endure, to survive and thrive. The sixth principle is rebuilding your identity rather than chasing moods. Most people try to fix their stress by fixing feelings. But moods are unstable, shaped by sleep, weather, hormones, and countless external forces. Build your life on identity instead. Define who you are under pressure, during setbacks, when expectations fail. When identity is strong, emotion becomes data, not the master. Discipline, resilience, composure, these are built into the self. Act according to that identity repeatedly, and the habits solidify. The container of identity shapes the waves of emotion rather than the other way around. The seventh principle is creating a life structure that neutralizes stress. Chaos in your environment produces chaos in your mind. Disorganized schedules, scattered tasks, unplanned time, cluttered spaces, they all drain your energy. Structure isn't punishment, it's armor. Anchor points in your day, morning routines, midday resets, evening reflections, stabilize attention and mood. A clear environment and predictable rhythm reduce friction and make your mind resilient to unforeseen challenges. Structure gives your nervous system the signal that things are under control, creating safety at a biological level. The eighth principle is living in emotional neutrality. Life swings between extremes, but emotional highs and crashes exhaust the mind and distort judgment. Neutrality is not indifference, it's centeredness. It allows you to observe emotions without being controlled by them. Insults, setbacks, unexpected changes. Neutrality provides space to assess, respond thoughtfully, and maintain balance. Emotions exist, but they no longer hijack your life. Like a mountain standing against a storm, neutrality lets the mind remain steady even as life fluctuates. When you integrate these principles, your relationship with stress transforms. You stop fighting reality. You master your stories. You release the uncontrollable. You interrupt destructive loops. You train yourself to endure. You build identity over fleeting feelings. You design structure. You remain emotionally stable. Stress no longer dictates your life. It merely exists, impotent against a fortified mind. Start small. Implement one principle at a time. Pause before reacting. Rewrite your narratives. Seek manageable discomfort. Define the identity you wish to live through. Anchor your day with intention. Observe emotions without surrendering. Practice even for a single day, and you'll feel clarity you never imagined. The mind you have now is temporary. The mind you can build is unshakable. Each action, each small decision, each moment of discipline compounds into resilience. You become the person stress cannot control. You're no longer a passive observer of life. You are the captain of your inner world. This is the Stoic path, not to escape hardship, but to master it, not to avoid challenge, but to thrive through it. Not to chase fleeting comfort, but to cultivate enduring strength. The change begins the moment you choose it. Your new life doesn't start tomorrow. It starts now, in this thought, in this breath, in this action.